Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to BioAlberta's 2021 Annual General Meeting. We acknowledge that the lands on which BioAlberta and our members are situated are in the traditional territories of diverse Indigenous groups, and we acknowledge with respect the diverse histories and cultures of these groups, which include the Blackfoot Confederacy, the Cree, Dene, Saulteaux, Nakota Sioux, Stoney Nakoda, and the Tsuut'ina Nation, and the Métis people of Alberta. My name's Keith Gilchrist, and I serve as co-chair of BioAlberta's Board of Directors, along with Nuzat Tamzaman. It'd seem odd if we didn't take a moment to reflect on this past year and the unique challenges we've seen as a life sciences community. We've seen members develop new vaccines, diagnostics, therapeutics, analytics, and more, both for and in the face of COVID-19. We've seen members launch new exports in a period of great uncertainty about travel and supply chain availability. We've seen members redesign their businesses for employee and customer safety. We've seen members develop new models of customer, investor, and stakeholder engagement. And we've seen Alberta companies attract a wave of new venture investment to the province. And as an association, we encourage you, we congratulate you, and we share a moment as we catch our breaths, re-energize, and get ready to get back in there. The annual general meeting of BioAlberta will now come to order. I'll defer the task of recording today's meeting to Invert 720 Productions, and the minutes will be recorded by Christy Fair. I'd like to introduce the current members of BioAlberta's board for 2020-2021. They include Jason Ding of Deloitte LLP, Keith Driver of Propel Ventures, Bridget Denise of Permalex Inc., myself, Keith Gilchrist of Janssen Inc., Jaspreet Griwal of Node Group, Mike Kipp of Stryker Canada, Greg Clack of Gilead Alberta ULC, Brent Corte of Corte Consulting, Nathan Robb of McCarthy Tetro, Sami Selama of Fedora Pharmaceuticals Inc., George Samuel, Svetlana Sapolnikova of the Metabolomics Innovation Center, and Nuzat Tamzaman of Sinoveda Canada Inc. Thank you to all of our board members. I'd also like to acknowledge members of the BioAlberta staff, Rob Stoddard, our President and CEO, Aaron Burns, our Manager of Membership, Christy Fair, our Office Manager, Trish Filovich, our Marketing and Events Manager, and Nisarg Patel, our Manager of Business Development. I have here the notice of the meeting, a copy of which was sent to each member of record. If there's any objection, please say yes on the polling feature now. There being no objection, I ask that a copy of the notice of the meeting be filed with the minutes of this meeting. The bylaws of the association provide that a quorum for the transaction of business shall be 1/3 of the members in good standing, or 10 members, whichever is fewer, present in person, or being a member entitled to vote thereat, or a duly appointed proxy holder or representative for any absent member so entitled to vote. I'd like to draw your attention to the fact that one proxy vote, which was properly authorized by an absent voting member in good standing, was received, and the proxy voters who have delegated their vote to the co-chairs of BioAlberta's Board of Directors are CSL Bearing. Each member attending today in a virtual way is deemed to be attending in person, as you're all able to participate, hear, and be heard via the virtual platform. These criteria have been satisfied, and therefore I declare that there is a quorum present at this meeting and that the meeting is called regularly and constituted properly for the transaction of business. I remind any guests that during the formal part of the meeting, only members or their proxy holders are permitted to vote. As is usual for the annual meeting, especially in this virtual format, we've asked certain members to come forward with motions. This procedure is in no way intended to discourage any comments or questions from members who are present today. When it comes to motions, the designated person will motion, another designated person will second. If discussion is needed, unmute your microphone. If no discussion is needed, a poll will be triggered for a vote. A poll will automatically pop up on your screen, and please ensure you vote for one of the options, yes, no, or I abstain. A copy of the agenda that was circulated with the AGM package has been made available to the membership by email and on screen today. Let me ask all members and proxy holders, are there any changes to the agenda? There being none, I ask that a member move that the agenda be approved as presented.
I so move.
I second the motion.
The motion was made by Sami Salama and seconded by Nuzat Tamzaman. The motion is now open for discussion. With no discussion, all voting members, please signify your vote using the poll function to indicate your response. I declare the motion carried. Copies of the minutes of the annual general meeting of members held on October 15th, 2020 were sent out to members. And I'd request that a member move that the reading of the minutes of the annual general meeting of members of BioAlberta held October 15th, 2020 be dispensed with and the minutes be taken as read and approved.
I so move.
I second the motion.
The motion was made by George Samoil and seconded by Svetlana Sapelnikova, and the motion is now open for discussion. There being no discussion, all voting members, please signify your vote using the poll function to indicate your response. I declare the motion carried. We'll now proceed with the election of directors, and I will invite Jason Ding to present this item. Jason.
Thanks, Keith. Before we proceed, I would like to acknowledge and thank two outgoing board members. Keith Gilchrist has been a member of BioAlberta since 2014 and served as co-chair of the board of directors from 2018 to 2021. Mike Kipp served on the board of directors from 2018 to 2021. On behalf of the board and our members, I'd like to thank Keith and Mike for their service to BioAlberta and their commitment to the life sciences ecosystem in Alberta.
Mike Kipp unfortunately couldn't join us, but for myself, I wanted to the board of directors and to the members of BioAlberta give a sincere thanks. The last time we had a board meeting, I told the board that I once read a quotation that one of the recipes for happiness was to take on difficult tasks with people that you admired, and working with BioAlberta has allowed me to check that box many times. It's been extremely rewarding for me, and thank you for all those opportunities.
Thanks so much, Keith. BioAlberta has been fortunate to attract individuals of very high caliber to the board of directors, and we sincerely thank them for their outstanding contributions during the past year. This year, two directors whose terms will end will not seek re-election. The directors who will not seek re-election are Keith Gilchrist and Mike Kipp. Two directors, Greg Clack and Nuzat Tamzaman, have agreed to remain on the board of directors for a second term. 4 new candidates were invited to join the board and have agreed to stand for election. Those nominated for election or re-election today include Daria Horbe, Darrell Lasuk, Sasha Musi, Sandy Wright. Should a member in the audience wish to make an additional nomination of directors, please indicate your intention to nominate by using the polling function. I would like to propose the motion for the election of these directors for the terms identified for each. Nuzat Tamzaman, 3 years. Greg Clack, 2 years. Daria Horbe, 3 years. Daryl Lasuk, 3 years. Sasha Musi, 3 years. Sandy Wright, 3 years. Is there a seconder for the motion?
I second the motion.
Sami Salama has seconded the motion. All voting members, please signify your vote using the poll function to indicate your response. I declare the motion carried. A majority of persons voting have indicated their approval of the election of those directors nominated. I declare the nominated persons elected as directors. The full complement of the 2021-2022 Board of Directors is presented here. As directors, we regard it a privilege to serve your interests on BioAlberta's boards, on BioAlberta's board. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. I'll now call upon Mr. Greg Clack as the current chair of the BioAlberta Audit and Finance Committee to present the next item.
We'll now proceed with the presentation of the financial statements and the audit report. BioAlberta's financial statements for the year ended March 31st, 2021, and the auditor's report were presented with the AGM meeting invitation sent by email on November 9th, 2021. The financial statements of the association have been audited by the company's auditors, St. Arnaud, Pinsent, Steeman, Chartered Accountants. On behalf of the Audit and Finance Committee, we move that the readings of the auditor's report and financials for the year ended March 31st, 2021 be dispensed with, and that the report and financials as they appeared in the November 9, 2021 email be taken as read and approved. Is there a seconder for the motion?
I second the motion.
Sami Salama has seconded the motion. The motion is now open for discussion. There being no discussion, all voting members, please signify your vote using the poll function to indicate your response. I declare the motion carried. On behalf of the Audit and Finance Committee, I move that St. Arnaud, Pinsent, Steeman, Chartered Accountants be appointed auditors of the corporation to hold office until the close of the next annual meeting of shareholders or until their successors are appointed at such fee level as may be fixed by the Audit and Finance Committee and approved by the Board of Directors. The Audit and Finance Committee is hereby authorized to fix such a fee level. Is there a seconder for the motion?
I second the motion.
George Samuel has seconded the motion. The motion is now open for discussion. There being no discussion, All voting members, please signify your vote using the poll function to indicate your response. I declare the motion carried. A majority of persons voting have indicated their approval of the appointment of St. Arnaud, Pinsent Steeman, Chartered Accountants, as auditors of the corporation at such fee level as may be fixed by the Audit and Finance Committee and approved by the directors. We will now proceed with the proposed amendments to the bylaws, and I will turn the floor over to Nathan Robb, who serves as Corporate Secretary.
Thanks, Greg, and good afternoon, everyone. During the past year, the Board of Directors undertook a review of the current bylaws in order to ensure that they remain current and relevant to the organization. Overall, the bylaws are in good order. However, the board has approved 2 major revisions, and these proposed revisions were communicated to the members on November 9th, 2021. References to chair and vice chair have been revised to co-chair, reflecting the current practice of the Board of Directors to share responsibility equally. References to the terms of members have been removed from the bylaws and placed in terms of reference. The Board of Directors believes the limit of 2 3-year terms is an important principle that keeps the Board of Directors current, but the formula prescribed in the bylaws was too complex to follow from a practical standpoint. Other changes are minor or reflect numbering or format changes. I, Nathan Robb, move that the bylaws approved by the Board of Directors be approved by the members of the association.
I second the motion.
The motion was seconded by Nuzat Tamzaman. The motion is now open for discussion. There being no discussion, all voting members, please signify your vote using the poll function to indicate your response. I declare the motion carried. We will now proceed with other business, and I will turn the floor back to Keith Gilchrist.
Thank you, Nathan. And thank you to our Audit and Finance Committee, as well as our Executive Committee. And at this time, I would like to open the floor to any other new or other business. I do have one thing that I'd like to present. At the June 2021 board meeting, the Board of Directors elected Greg Clack to replace myself, Keith Gilchrist, as co-chair. And on a personal note, I have to say to Greg that it's been a privilege to work alongside you these last 4 years, and you brought the same leadership, analysis, and energy to BioAlberta that you bring to your team at Gilead. And the association's lucky to have you. Thank you for agreeing to continue to serve, this time as our co-chair. And with you and Nuzat leading the board, BioAlberta is in very good hands. Thank you. If there's no further business to be brought before the meeting, I'll ask that a member move to terminate the meeting.
I so move.
Great. Thank you. I declare that motion carried, and I declare the meeting terminated. This terminates the formal 2021 annual general meeting. Thank you all for attending and for your participation. And while we open up the meeting to the public and allow them into the meeting, we hope that you enjoy this short video. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Well, BioAlberta is an organization that brings together all the different efforts to create biotechnology in Alberta. And I think they have been very successful in trying to link and create an organization. And it's very important when a community gets bigger and you need more people and more biotechs to nurture the environment to make biotechnology part of Alberta's diversification. And I think that BioAlberta has played a very important role in helping to nurture that. Biotech companies like to interact with each other as well, and the people working in different biotechs. So that BioAlberta is a link between the biotechnology industry and the provincial government and the federal government, so they know what's happening in Alberta in the biotech industry. I think that BioAlberta is very important because what we're realizing, and I think is becoming more and more evident, that it's not only important to do the research, but it's also very important to translate the research into products that benefit humankind. BioAlberta is a organization that helps sell the message of the importance of translation and getting discoveries into medicines and into vaccines that benefit humankind. Biotechnology is going to continue to grow. We need to see the investment in supporting BioAlberta and the biotechnology in industry. Often it takes time for discoveries to be translated into products that benefit people. And it's through that long period of time that we need government support. And in the end, we will create jobs, we'll create industry, and we'll create companies like this that are benefiting the province at the present time. Researchers have to have a way to file patents. We look in Canada and see that Canada punches above its weight for research, and our discovery research is extremely good. But we also have guidelines that say we can't use the money from our research grants for patents, and often it's difficult to get patents done. If Canada is going to build the biotech industry, it has to look at how we invest in it and how we invest all the way from research through translation, through patents, and finally to produce products. In Canada right now, with COVID-19, we're seeing that we wished we'd made investments in biotech industry 10 and 15 years ago, probably when SARS hit in 2002, 2003, there was an intent to change a number of things. And we did develop the Public Health Agency of Canada, and we did develop the National Laboratory in Winnipeg. Is another gem for not only Canada, but for the world. And we needed to develop some of the biotechnology manufacturing sites for vaccines and therapeutics. We haven't got that developed enough, and the industry isn't as big in Canada. We need to see a system that partners academia, the researchers in academia, with government support, and industry has to be in there as a partner. And that's how we're going to try and get biotech really developed. It's a partnership between the three: government, academia, and industry.